So we have several different levels. We have free suppliers, which are essentially open listings. So it's a user-generated site. People can list for free on the site. However, free suppliers are marked as free suppliers and they're ranked lower than our paid suppliers. Paid suppliers on our site are called gold suppliers. Gold suppliers go through a third-party authentication and verification to confirm who they are. We also just recently started conducting on-site visits for all of our gold suppliers. So we actually go on-site to each one of those suppliers. We take pictures of their factory. We confirm if they're a trader or manufacturer, et cetera. We confirm that their product lines listed on the site match the product lines that they're actually producing. So that's a new service that we just started about a month ago. We've done 10,000 suppliers so far. We have 90,000 more to go. We think it'll take us about a year. But we've started indicating on all the gold suppliers if they have gone through that on-site check or not. Also, when you look at the gold suppliers on our site, the gold supplier logo has a number beside it, which tells you how many years they've been a gold supplier on our site. So you can see people who have been 7, 8-year members, and you know that they have a long-standing trading record if they've been on our site for that long. We also offer a couple of other services. We have a factory audit service, which actually is something that the supplier can pay for to demonstrate their manufacturing capacity. So for example, if you need to manufacture a certain amount of products and you're not sure if this factory has that level of capacity to actually reach that number, you can actually request a third-party factory audit that will go in and verify what the production capacity, what the financial status of this factory is, and confirm that you have all of that information. The other service that we just launched 2 months ago is our inspection service. So if you're sourcing from a factory overseas, you can now, after you place the order, we have a list of 27 pre-qualified inspectors that have passed through certain certifications on our site and with us. And you can hire them to do, whether it's a product inspection, a green manufacturing inspection, a shipping inspection, whatever it is that you need, you work with them to get an estimate of how much that'll cost. And then contract with them to do the inspection through our escrow service. So you pay us, not the inspector. They go to the inspection. When you get the report, if you're happy with the report, you release the money and we pay the inspector. If you then get your goods and they don't match the report, you get 20 times your money back from the inspector. So that's a service that we launched 2 months ago, again to help small businesses, because not every small business can fly over and inspect the goods before they get on the ship. So we're allowing you now to contract with these third-party inspectors to verify the goods.
Hi, I'm Isabel Lesto from Lloyd's Loading List. We're a shipping directory. I just wanted to find out about the supply chain. Is there any way that you have at the moment of linking the buyers and the suppliers to the supply chain, to freight forwarders, to shipping lines? There are a lot of freight exchanges in the freighting community, but or is that something that you would plan to do in the future?
Logistics is actually a huge challenge for all of our customers, and it's definitely something we're looking into. Right now, you can actually find logistics companies on the website, so you can source them just like you would a supplier. You can currently do that, but we are looking at, similar to the inspection service, we are looking at introducing more curated logistics services for our customers in the future.
Francis is National and Global. You obviously have a lot of data mining tools. Do you share that with your members?
We actually, well, it depends on what type of member you are. If you're a supplier, if you're a gold supplier, we do actually give you access to certain data tools. But we're looking at, right now, the way we open up our data is fairly limited, and we're looking at new ways to open up our data. Mainly because, as Jack has said in the past, Jack Ma, the founder, you know, the most valuable thing we actually have is the data, because we're looking at trends 6 months out. We've been able to see all the recessions coming. We kind of know when trade starts to go down before a lot of other people do, because we're directly in touch with the factories. So we're looking at better and better ways to manage that data so that we can actually make it more available to our suppliers and help them run their business better.
On the whole, are suppliers happy to send out samples to the UK if you just want 1 or 2 items or to compare?
Right. I think as long as you give them significant information about what you're looking for, then they're usually happy to send out samples. We have a few customers in the audience who will probably speak a bit more about that going forward. As long as they feel that you're a serious buyer and you're actually somebody who's looking to manufacture and not somebody who's just looking for a free sample of something, they're usually very happy to do that. We also, however, have we do have a separate service called AliExpress, which focuses mostly on small quantities of consumer goods, and it is a transaction-based platform where you can purchase directly. And often we'll have customers that go first to AliExpress and buy a sample from the manufacturer and then actually come back later and do a bigger order. So if you're selling a consumer good, if you're selling, rather than a chemical or machinery, you might actually find that the supplier is also listed on the smaller platform, which is AliExpress, and you can easily just purchase a sample there.
Do you have a... Okay, sorry. Do you have a schedule anywhere on your website of what you charge for all these services? For example, the gold supplier, the gold customer, whether you take any commission and what have you. Do you have a schedule on your website, please?
We do, but I can pretty much tell you because it's very easy.
Right.
There's one paid product, which is the gold supplier product, and that's $2,999 US a month. So around 1,900 pounds, or sorry, per year, not per month. I was just upping our revenue model right there. No, per year. And it's a flat fee. There's no transaction fees for any of the transactions that you conduct, because since Alibaba.com tends to do a lot of OEM and other things, most of the payments are actually made offline. Although we have actually introduced escrow payment on our site, which again allows protected payment between buyer and supplier. That's still a new service, so it's not rolled out to all suppliers yet. But so otherwise, we don't take any transactions. Buyers use the site for free. The inspection service, we don't have a price listing because it's totally based on the quantity and the type of inspection you need, so it's very customized. Mm-hmm. But all the other services on the site are free.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So one more question on that subject of escrow payments.
Yes.
It's a fairly limited facility, $5,000. Do you have any plans for increasing the limit on that?
It was increased 2 months ago to $50,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So $50,000, and at one time, originally the limit on escrow was $10,000 and air shipment only. Now it's $50,000, and we also offer sea freight shipment through escrow as well. Again, it's still a new and developing service because there's a lot of legal regulations around doing escrow, so we have to roll it out slowly. But we've already seen, I think, 260% growth in escrow transactions on the site. So if it's at all possible to do your first transaction through escrow, we usually recommend it because it gives you a much more protected transaction. Then once you get to know the supplier, you can always start transacting with them directly.
Hi, I'm the CEO of First Rate FX. We're currency specialists, and we help tens of thousands of corporate companies to send funds overseas to their suppliers. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, is there anything on your site that recommends to people who they should use to send their money through if they're trading internationally? Because obviously with the fluctuating markets at the moment, especially at the moment, people are finding it really difficult to meet their payments when they need to.
Right. We do have some currency and trading companies who list on our site just as suppliers, but that is another thing similar to logistics that we're looking at potentially expanding and helping people, because currency, not just the currency fluctuations, but just trading overseas in general, the payment options are something that people are very concerned about and want to find the right method. And it's different for every country on what makes sense. So it's definitely something that we're exploring. Right now, it's simply listed as suppliers on our site. You can go on and you can find people that can help you make the transaction overseas. But we do have different payment recommendations that we make based on safety and based on what we see of what the safest ways to pay are. That's in our Trust and Safety Center. But beyond that, we don't currently have any vendors that we work with that help us do that.
I'm allowed to ask a question. So it's Emma Jones from Enterprise Nation. We're not covering it in huge detail today, but do you also give advice on the cultural etiquette of doing business in Asia?
We do. We have a lot of information both on our UK site as well as on our global site, and then we do a lot of other discussions on it as well. I think anybody who's ever traded internationally has run into unique cultural aspects, no matter which countries you're trading between, and frankly, even sometimes your own country. So I think that there's a lot of aspects about trading that's really important. I think the rule always stands, no matter what you're doing, whether it's international or domestic trade, that communication is very important. And one of the things we're putting a lot of effort into is finding new ways to help educate people on the types of questions they need to ask and the way that they need to approach different things based on cultural differences. But again, that's a monumental undertaking, and it's going to take quite a bit of time. We do actually have a colleague, though, who specifically wrote a book that's been published for quite a while on trading between US and China. And we do a lot of education specifically with our Chinese manufacturers on how to trade with Western countries so they understand a bit more of the mentality when they're talking to customers overseas.